MDfashionco podcast, episode 6. I'm here with a film critic. We're going to talk about the film Heretic. Straight to the point, that is what we are going to do. Thank you for being here, film critic.
Hi, how are you? I'm happy to be here.
Yes, great. Thank you for being here because I really love to talk about this movie and we're going to spoil it in this podcast. So let's get to it. So Heretic's a movie about two Mormon missionaries. They're going from house to house and they're trying to convert people. They meet an atheist guy, and the atheist guy, who's the main antagonist of the film, he tries to convince them that their religion is wrong through a sick story, right? So I think the overarching theme of this movie is, would you agree that the overarching theme is how much you choose to believe in things which are shown to you, right? And
Mm-hmm.
how much choice do you really have,
Mm-hmm.
right? So in that whole movie, they are given the illusion of choice. He says so many times, right, you have the ability to leave at any time,
Yeah,
but they actually don't.
yeah, that's right. And I think that's the whole premise, isn't it? The fact that um, our beliefs are often inherited, and therefore, do we really have choice in what we inherit? Is the
Yeah,
question.
exactly. And like when you think of a kid, right, growing up in a religious household, they don't really have any power to say anything else, to do anything else, right? Because they'll be left out in the cold if they don't, I would assume, right? So it's either
Right.
yeah, which is what happens in the movie Heretic. So he gets them initially to go into the house because it's raining outside, and they're not meant to go in because unless your wife's there,
Mm-hmm.
they don't, but they choose to believe that the wife is there without any evidence just because at that time it's just more comfortable, right? I guess.
Is it about comfort, or is it about, I guess, them wanting to believe the good
Yeah,
in him?
I guess they wanted to believe the good in him, but it was also about comfort because it was raining, right? It
Mm.
started raining really bad when they were outside.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it I guess that's why someone would initially believe in a god, right? That's what it's posing,
Yeah.
because it's really uncomfortable to not do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's made like a pseudo belief system, right, in his house where when they come in to the house, now they are in his belief system, right?
Right.
This is everything in there is controlled by him. And yeah, it's like a microcosm for someone being indoctrinated into a religion, I guess. Only he's indoctrinating them into his religion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's really interesting to me, and I think it's very clever. So I don't know if you remember, but when there's a symbol of a butterfly in this movie. We're going to jump around a bit, but I'm bringing it up now because when they first go into the house, did you remember there was a butterfly trying to escape? Do you
Yes.
remember that? Yes.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Like, what's the symbol of that? What
The
does that mean?
butterfly.
Yeah.
Mm. Well, what do butterflies normally represent, do you think?
I'm not sure. I can look it up now.
Well, I think, well, butterflies generally, I think, represent beauty and transformation,
Yep.
right?
Rebirth.
Rebirth. Yeah.
Metamorphosis? Yeah.
Metamorphosis, change, transformation.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that the butterfly for Reed was contained. So it's inside his architecture of control, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think it's like almost like it's almost like he tries to contain it.
Mm.
He tries to contain like maybe it's like almost symbolic of like him trying to contain
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
transformation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, maybe. And that would make total sense based on his entire thing being order and control.
Yeah.
Right? He's a really like controlling, that's all he believes in, right? Every single system that it was created with religion, I just rewatched this today. So he said every single system of religion has been made for one reason, and they are as hollow and capitalistic as the Monopoly games. right? They're
Mm-hmm.
literally just made for control. There's
Yeah.
no other reason. And that's his villain position,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, so I think that's super super extreme, but it's not unrealistic. I think people do definitely think that. A lot of people do think that.
The religion was just made for control.
Yes, that's literally what he says in his whole speech of like showing monopoly and everything. He said they're all going from the source material, right?
Yeah. The
And it's just like,
iterations.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
doing iterations, but at the end of the day, it's all just a money grab, control grab actually. But money can be seen as control in this case.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, just looking at the notes, yeah, the movie may seem to be pro control, but the fact that his plans didn't go completely to plan shows the fault of control, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because control works until it doesn't, and chaos is inevitable. So I think about the book 1984. Have you read it? Do you know the story
Yeah.
of 1984? Yeah. So people talk about that as like, oh, the it's about a tyrannical government that just
Right.
controls and watches everyone, right? And they
Yep.
say like, will that government last forever? And no one agrees that it will, because it takes the resistance one go to take it over, right? You can control people, but the issue is controlling every day works until it doesn't, right? If that makes sense. So yeah, and that's what happens in his case, right? So he's in Mr. Reed's case. He was just bringing all the Mormon girls in and all that, and setting up this whole thing until the box cutter falls, right? Until she gets the box cutter. Oh no, it's not the box cutter. It's the envelope opener.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So chaos is inevitable in
So would you
in
say then that he's a very obviously controlled and dogmatic person in the way that he views the world, and even so in the movie, he's like anticipating in anticipating by was it by the hour or by a certain I can't remember, but
yeah.
timestamp of when things would happen. But then
Mm.
it's interesting that he wasn't able to foresee these other variable elements, like the fact that she was able to get was it a knife or a box cutter, you said?
No,
Yeah.
no, it was a letter opener.
A letter opener, right.
Yeah.
So there were these variables which I guess represents chaos, right, in control.
Yeah. Unless
Why
unless he did know.
did he?
I don't know. If you want to do a really deep reading, he knew that the box cutter was there. He knew that his death was coming. That he was going to die, and it was like a subconscious. I know that's too deep. I don't think they were thinking about that, but I'm just like
No.
deeply reading into it.
Yeah, I think it's more actually the fact that it talks more to the fact that he was so dogmatic in his belief, and he had like a belief and assumption of these two missionaries that maybe he didn't even actually foresee that that could happen. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah, yeah.
he believed that they would basically fall under his control, maybe.
Mm. Well, that
Yeah.
wasn't the only. There were a few things in his plan that didn't go to plan, right? So the first one is the letter opener, right? When she
Mm-hmm.
picks it up, puts it in his pocket. That's the first thing. The second thing is when the prophet who gets reborn whispers
Yes.
to the girl
Yes.
and says it's all fake,
It's all
right?
like, yeah.
Yeah. And then the third one, well, actually, there's two more. It's the when she pulls down when they first go into the basement, she pulls down a plank of wood that has 3 nails in it, right? You
Mm-hmm.
remember? And then when he thinks he kills her, well, she gets back up with the plank and then hits him across the head,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is uh it's left ambiguous whether that actually happens at the end of the movie or not, right?
Sorry, say that. Yeah, say that
it,
last part
it's
again, sorry.
it's left ambiguous whether or not the girl who gets killed gets back up one last time and
Right.
then kills Mr. Reed.
Yes.
Right? They could have both just bled out. So yeah, so there were multiple things in his plan that didn't go to plan, but based on what him having girls already, like in the basement, which is horrifying, by the way. Like that whole scene is super, super horrifying and disturbing to me because it shows like the psychopathy of control. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
have control, it'll never stop.
Right.
Right? If a person's really in that state, they you really just need force to stop them. They're not going to stop of their own volition. And I think you've seen that a lot in human history. But yeah,
Definitely.
so those things didn't happen. Those things he didn't think would happen, and that's what brought it to the end. Right? That's what brought his whole like thing to the end. And what I find interesting is like he's saying, to go back on his idea. He's so atheist, he thinks religion is all about control and everything. But then how does that explain every single human civilization for all time since we became conscious starting a religion? That's my main criticism of his ideology.
Well, there has to be a reason why humans have started religions, right?
Yes.
Which is humans need certainty and we need meaning.
Yeah, exactly. And we also fear like
We fear the
death, and there's
unknown.
things we
We
don't
fear that,
understand.
yeah, there's things that, like, the mystery of the world, the mystery of the universe, things that we don't know, things that we don't understand. And as humans, the brain and the mind needs understanding and certainty. It needs meaning to survive almost.
Yeah,
And I think that's
absolutely.
what and I think that's what the movie is really about. It's like that tension between the unknown and the known. Almost like how Reed sees the world through like a framework of absolute control. And the missionaries represent faith and belief, and they challenge him on that. He actually, I think, in the end, he becomes a believer, don't you think?
Well, they say there's no atheists on a plane that's going down, right? On a crashing plane, there's no
That's true.
atheists, right?
Yeah.
And that's what that. So he said, pray for us, because he was like, if I'm actually faced with death and
Mm-hmm.
I have no control, right? Then I would rather be a believer than not. So
Yeah.
like he undergoes a
A
character
transformation.
transformation, yeah, and so
Yeah.
does she, and so does she,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think that's really analogous to Jesus on the cross. So when Jesus was on the cross, he said, "Father, why have you forsaken me?" Which was an atheist thing to say. While Jesus was on the cross, he thought for a moment like, it can't be real. I can't. How can I deal with all this suffering? Right? It's so bad that like I have to be an atheist, right? Even in that case, like even Jesus felt that way, or at least that's the reading of it that I kind of understand. So it's like I think that's a kind of analogy of what this did in this movie. It's like when they were on the brink of death, they both had questioned their belief system, because that's just something that humans do, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
so you said about Reed, you said his conviction blinds him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he thinks he is in control, which is just another form of belief. So it's not much different to the missionaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're saying control is just as much of a belief system as religion.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because it's still a form of trying to manage uncertainty,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
So if you're trying to manage uncertainty, either way, it's still a form of belief. Your belief is just that through control, you're in control. So it's still a belief in itself. Like you're still ruled by that belief that control keeps you safe, control gives you meaning. It's the same thing as the missionaries believing that God gives them meaning
Yeah.
or their mission gives them meaning.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And she says pretty early on, the blonde one says, like, the way that I know religion is real is because of the way it makes me feel, right?
Hmm.
And control can make you feel at peace because you're so in control.
Well, the control is really what it comes down to is humans just want to feel safe, right?
Yeah.
It's just like you're feeling safe, I mean, psychologically.
Hmm.
Um, and so I think that's what it's about. Like with all the suffering that humans can go through, or all the mystery and the unknown, and that. the angst with that, people need to find meaning. And some people use religion or some people use control. Control being a way to manage the unknown, really.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think and you also said the point of the movie is to show us that belief, dogmatic belief, whether that be the missionary or Reed, you lose connection.
Yeah. I
Right.
think what I meant by that is that, like, when you believe something so strongly and you're so convicted in that, you have so much conviction behind that, you don't have room for a possible another possible interpretation. And we see that
Mm.
with the missionary and Reed, actually, and that's why I say they're two sides of the same coin, because they're actually both trying to convince each other that they're right, when
Yeah,
really,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. So Reed is trying to say, like, his way, atheism, is the
Mm.
way, and religion's a farce, right? He's trying
Yeah.
to tell them, wake up, your religion is a farce. And the missionaries are doing the exact same thing, are they
Yeah.
not?
Yeah, they are, because if you truly believe that like your God is the way and everyone's going to hell, like unless they repent and believe the
Yeah,
gospel, then
yeah,
they are seriously trying to convince him.
yeah, exactly right. And I think
Yeah.
that's why I say they're both still using control. The missionaries use control in a way of trying to convince him of their way, and uh, Reed does the same.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Because they were going in, and in a sense, right, in a way that they were vulnerable to him in this situation. They were going to his house and vulnerable, right? They Other people could be vulnerable to the Mormon belief, right? If they're going into another house, if the Mormons are going into another house, a critique would be like they're vulnerable to the Mormons, right? Because they're showing because they're spreading their belief. Now, obviously, I think we can agree that Mr. Reed's belief is evil. He's definitely the antagonist, right? Like,
yeah.
yeah,
But what do you think really is under the need for both the missionary and Reed using control, instead of allowing either or to be within their belief without needing to convince the other? Because I guess that's what, like, belief doesn't need to be proven, in my view. Belief is
yeah,
what you believe, right? But in
yeah.
this story, it's two parties that believe have opposing ideals, but are trying to convince each other that they're right. So what's really underneath that need to convince the other person, rather
Well,
than just sticking to their
yeah.
own belief?
The answer's given in when just before they knock on Mr. Reed's door, the black-haired missionary says to the blonde-haired one, "Let's get you your first baptism." Right?
Mm,
You remember? So it's an ego
mm.
thing, kind of. It's like, I haven't converted that many people, right?
Um,
And
yeah.
so she says, "Let's get you your first one," right? And then
Mm, mm.
that's what causes, like, that's the whole thing that starts this, right? Like, she was like, "Oh, I don't know about this." It's like, "Let's get you your first baptism," and then so it might be a bit of ego, and but at the end of the
Um,
day, it is a movie that they're trying to explore themes. So
yeah. Well, I can see that why you would think that it's ego, but I would actually offer a different view, which is that I think that it's actually fear,
fear.
right? Yeah, because they both share a need for certainty, right? The
Yep.
missionaries, like, believe in God. Reed believes in control, logic, his own intellect, and each of them believe that they hold the truth,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And each sees the other as sort of deluded,
Yeah.
and they're both trying to convert each other, right?
Yeah.
Right. So wouldn't you say then that the missionaries use faith to control fear?
To control fear in who?
Fear of not being able to convince someone of what they believe.
I'm not sure I follow that. I don't
You
really get
right?
it. So they're using fear. The missionaries are using fear. I think they're if from Mr. Reed's view,
No,
they're
so
boycotting
so
fear
so
to get people on their
no, so
side.
they use their faith to control their fear.
Oh, to control their fear. Yes, of course.
Yes,
Yes, of
yes,
course.
yeah, yeah, and
Precisely.
yeah, and Reed uses his logic to control his fear. So that's why I say it's really they're kind of like mirroring each other.
Yeah, they're dealing with the same question. When he writes belief and disbelief on the doors, right?
Hmm.
His lines are when he writes belief, he says, if God is real and he watches us, he watches us all the time and he judges us and he gives people diseases, that's scary. And then he writes disbelief on the other door and says, but if there is no God and it's all just random, then that's scary too. We are alone.
Hmm.
So he said, I am scared of both sides, right? He does admit that he is scared. And yeah, he had to, you're right. Both systems are a way to reduce fear. And like, not to oversimplify it, but I think that's totally true, right? Like, both people are trying, all humans in a sense, are trying to stop fear. And that's where religion comes in.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a way of organizing chaos, really,
Mm,
right? It's
yeah.
a way to streamline, it's a way to bring certainty, it's a way to bring order, it's a way to explain um, mysteries of the world, or when, because the human experience is there's so many things that you can't explain, you know?
Yeah.
Like when someone goes through grief or death, like you can't explain that. So that's why people turn to meaning.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what I think, he lies at many points in this movie, right? And that's I wanted to talk about if his philosophy is consistent with lying. So he lied. He said his wife is making blueberry pie and she wasn't. He said like, you can leave at any time, but you really can't,
Hmm.
right? Physically, you cannot leave. So does that, yeah, and then still keeps saying like, no, you allowed me to do this, why do you keep letting me do this to you, right? But it's like, that's the question I have, like, if the fact he's lying destroys his entire philosophy, or does he just think that religion lies to you, so he says, okay, if religion's gonna lie to you, then fair game, I'm gonna lie to get you into my system.
Hmm.
But he can't lie and then keep saying you allowed me to do this to you, because it's like, no, I lied to you and you wanted to believe it, right? That's his kind of sleight of hand, right? So
Hmm.
he says like, you wanted to believe that my wife was there, right? Because you want the baptism, you want to keep talking to me, right?
Right.
And yeah.
Right. I understand what you're saying.
So
Hmm.
so it's like the religion switch would be like, we lied to you to say that God exists, which firstly, I don't even agree with that statement, because I think humans have found God independent of tyrannical control, right?
Hmm.
If you look at those indigenous American tribes, right? Indigenous tribes in America, they all had a religion, right? And a lot of those tribes lived, you know, without that much hierarchy. There was definitely hierarchy, but like, if someone was part of the tribe and they were starving, you just feed them, right? Like, so it was very communal, very like equal in that sense. So so yeah, that's an interesting idea, that like, him lying, I don't know if he can lie and then continue to say that this is your choice, this is your doing. Because
Hmm.
yeah, because if you have a choice, then you can say no to that. And I think if you're a kid, right? If you're a kid, I understand that you would say to a kid, you know, this is God. God lives, up in the sky, and you don't know that, but it's not necessarily a lie. You don't know that. You believe it.
Yeah, you wouldn't know any different. So to you, it's not a lie.
Exactly. And also, you can't prove it either way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There are certain things we just can't prove. So that's like a kind of an issue I have with Mr. Reed's philosophy. Like, it's not really consistent in that way. So Anyway, yeah.
Hmm.
All right. So you said what's most interesting about Reed is that even if in his disbelief, he requires others to validate it,
Yeah.
right? So, which is kind of why he's the opposite to a Mormon, right? He's like the anti-Mormon because, as you said, they're two sides of the same coin. Both are trying to spread their belief.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, neither of these people can just sit there and just believe what they want to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
I think that,
requires other people to validate it.
yeah, like that in essence is really just they're both afraid of meaninglessness, I think.
Mm,
Just trying to find meaning, right? And yeah,
yeah.
and I think that's very true that, like, as I said earlier, that if you have a deep belief in something, it's not something that needs to be proven, by an objective fact or objective, or science or, you know, like to an evidentiary standard. It's just something that, you believe because of faith, of something, of a feeling,
Mm.
and a knowing. And
Yeah.
if Reed truly believed in what he was preaching or purporting to preach, he wouldn't need to have others disprove it.
Yeah, yeah. And now that I think about it, if you really go into Reed's psychology, right? If you really, really break it down, and this is going beyond the film, I think, but if I was really talking to him now, I would say, okay, so religion is so bad, it's all capitalistic. You live in a Judeo-Christian society, right? You live in a society whose morals have been built on the Judeo-Christian ethic,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he is like doing things that just aren't ethical at all, right? But he is still protected by this system that was erected around him, right? As a result of religion. So again, that's another critique of like, yeah, you don't like religion. Yeah, maybe you believe it was created by someone just trying to control others. But as a result of that control, you live in a house, you live in a Western country where people aren't breaking in and robbing you, right? And you know what I'm saying? It's like, where did those ethics come from? Did they come from control? I guess they came from religion, but then you would say religion
Well,
came from control.
yeah, well, mhm. Well, we've evolved as a society, right?
We
So,
have,
th-
yeah, but in
that's
every society, we've learned like to make a religion that's going to stop people from. Right, it's like chicken and the egg. I see it like what came first, the chicken or the egg? Right? Did society come first, or
mm.
the ability? They happened at the same time, right? Yeah. So
Well, I think that do you think then without religion there would have been like anarchy almost, perhaps?
yeah, but ever since Adam and Eve bit the apple, right, and the scales fell from their eyes, that was like when we gained consciousness. I see. So ever since that happened, we have had religion. We've had the need for religion. So animals don't have the need for religion because they truly live in a world of power. They live in a world of power, right? It's just like
Hmm.
who's the biggest animal will just eat the second biggest animal,
Right.
and like that's a truly a world of power. The only time that stops is when we have a conscience, right? And we don't just beat up on people who are weaker, right? I'd be interested to see, just as a quick aside, how Reed would act if he went to a pub and a big burly guy, really big muscular guy, comes and just takes his wallet and says, "What are you going to do about it, old man? I'm going to beat you if you try and stop me." Right? Reed would say, "That's not fair. I'm going to call the police." Right? But it's like you only live in a system that has police because it was set up using the ethics from Christianity, probably, right? Since he's living in the West. So, again, do you owe that to God? And like, that's an interesting thing. Like, I'll ask you this question: Say you and I were stranded, like a shipwreck went down, and we both swim to separate islands, Okay?
Hmm.
I swim to an island of a tribe that has no God. So they just believe that when I get washed up ashore, it's just like cannibalism. They just eat me, right?
Hmm.
You go to an island that has a God, and because they have a God that says, they have a God that says you shouldn't kill and eat people, right? You don't get eaten. Did God save you in that circumstance?
Did God save me?
Yeah.
Because, well,
I think technically God did save you because their belief in God is what saved your life, right? So what I'm
well, so
saying
you're
is,
saying, so you're
yeah.
saying it's like divine intervention.
I'm not saying it's divine. I'm saying whether or not it's divine intervention, it saved your life, right? So what I'm saying is, if Mr. Reed goes to a pub and a guy takes his wallet and says,
Well,
what are you going to, I'm going to beat you up, right? If, this is mine, right? And then you call the police on him and you get your wallet back, right? That in a sense is divine intervention, the way I see it,
but don't
right?
you also think that humans also evolved their own consciousness without the order of religion?
I don't
Because
think
not,
it's ever happened
mm,
because
well, yeah,
every single society has had religion.
yeah, every single society has had religion. Sure, we let's say we all gained consciousness from religion. It all started there, right? But as society has progressed, and obviously there's a lot of in modern day society, not many people actually believe in God.
Yeah, I know. But the
But they
society
but
is
you're
yeah,
saying it's already been established through
correct.
through religion, is what you're
Yeah, the
saying.
West has already been established through religion, and in places where it isn't established, religion is still there, right?
Yeah,
So
but like, but
yeah.
then like, what about things like the separation of church and state, or like modern day like legal systems, or the Renaissance period, or like you know all these periods in history that really don't really have to do with religion, but really were just an evolution of like almost like the human consciousness and human spirit almost.
Yeah, and I think the human consciousness and human spirit are part of God, right? It's like part of it all collectively comes together as God is good, right? So God is good, and what is good is like human flourishing and that, right?
So
Because
you're
God,
saying,
yeah.
yeah, sorry, go.
So human. This is just an overarching idea that I have, right? That God can be seen in everything, right? God. That's what people say. Like, how can you not believe in God? Because everything you look around, everything you see is God, right? Because it exists and it's in harmony and it's always existed, and so it has to be good, right? So when God created everything, he said it was good. And by the way, I am a noob when it comes to theology, but like I'm trying, and what I understand is like I understand that people have different interpretations and everything. So, but I think that this statement is true. This is what I believe is true. To go back to the original statement, I think the reason we have ethics is due to religion, some form of belief, and it all stems from that. Because
Okay.
it's hard to logically square, right? If you could take money from a homeless person and no one else would know, how do it's hard to not logically square to do that act, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because as an animal, if you're a bigger animal and you see a smaller animal and you're hungry, you just eat it. There's no ethics at all. But as a human, we do have ethics and we have a conscience. And the question is, where does that come from? And when you have Mr. Reed, although he says multiple times, "I'm terribly sorry I'm keeping you ladies so cold," right? I don't think he is sorry. I think he probably relishes in the power of it. So,
You think that he relishes in the power of it?
well, otherwise, why would he be doing it?
But wouldn't you say like ethics is also discovered through awareness though?
Yeah, but what is awareness? Like, who gave us
Awareness is
awareness?
yeah, okay. If you're just gonna bring it back to like the source being God, sure, but
Yeah,
he gave us the ability to be able to have awareness, to be able to have choice, to be able to have autonomy, to
correct.
decide. So
Yes.
let's say God fabricated, like God made this whole world, right? And
Yep.
he put us all of us humans on this earth. And each of us walk our own path, right?
Right.
All of us can make choices and all of us can choose what to believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that is one explanation that they say in the Bible. So Adam and Eve bite the apple, um, after Adam and Eve bite the apple, they realize they were naked, and what that is realizing that you're vulnerable. And when you realize that you're vulnerable, you realize that other people are vulnerable too. So when you realize you can get hurt, you realize other people can be hurt too.
Exactly. And that's where morality
Yes,
probably
but
arises
why?
from.
But so many times in history, when God has gone out of the picture, like the Holocaust, or other times in human history, right, where humans have done like loads of bad stuff against other humans, it's because yeah,
God was not
it's
present.
yeah, God is not present, but also like it's shown that you say it's of course you shouldn't hurt other people, right? You
Mhm.
say that, but it's just not been the case in human history. Right? When you realize that you are vulnerable and you can be hurt, and as a result you can hurt other people, it's not a simple logical leap to say I shouldn't hurt other people. And I think history shows that.
Yeah, but I think then you're
And
looking
that's
at
why
it through a,
religion exists.
yeah, but I think you're looking through a very simple lens of like hurt and not hurt. But what about love or care or charity? What about those things?
Yeah, all
Where does
all
that
ideas
what
that were erected around religion.
yeah, sure, right? But in any time in human history where there's been atrocities, there's also the other side where humans have shown to be good as well. Like,
Mm.
you know,
Yeah,
and
you're
they
right.
fight and they fight back.
Absolutely, exactly. And that's how it stops. That's how it starts and that's how it stops. Right? And then yeah. So where does that come from? I don't know. I think this is what's called the problem of evil, right? It's something that people think like religion solves, or I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. And I think nobody knows. But anyway, so I'm going to wrap this up unless you have more to say on this topic.
I think we've discussed it pretty thoroughly.
Yeah, like we've got, yeah. So I think you said the last thing you said is Carl Jung said the greatest privilege of life is becoming who you truly are, right?
Hmm.
And both Mr. Reed and the Mormons potentially had to unlearn their dogmatic beliefs,
Yeah.
right? And we all do because and that's the reason I brought this movie up, is because it makes me think about what beliefs do I hold right now that are like just put there to control me, or put there that aren't serving me. And so I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. I think we all like have inherited beliefs through, our family system, through society. And I think, it's part of everyone's own journey to understand what it is that motivates them and what values that they want to actually live by and what is important to them, not based on external factors or what they've believed to be told to them that is true or good. Because there's really no good or bad. That's what I believe in terms of like,
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure Mr. Reed is bad.
no, as in, yes, of course. But what I'm saying is it's it's more complex than that. Humans are quite complex. It's not binary. I think
Hmm.
with anything, even Mr. Reed being, yeah, you could say that he's evil. You could say that he's evil. But there is an underlying reason to why he is the way that he is.
Yeah, but they don't get into that. The movie doesn't explore that at all. Oh,
Yeah.
it kind of does. He said he discovered everything. He tried to research everything, and then he just saw the common thread was just control. And yeah.
Yeah. But
Anyway, there's
yeah,
so much to talk about Heretic. We're gonna end it there. All right, guys, if you're watching this, let me know what you thought in the comments. I hope this was valuable to someone because it was valuable to me, and I hope it was valuable to the film critic here to explore this movie because I think it's great. Like, I think it's a really good example of like a really good critique of religion and dogma.
thank you.
Yes, thank you. All right, and we out.